It's the beginning of the end for GameStop. Let's do this. So it's the beginning of the end for GameStop. Well, you know, we could all see this coming. It's just here. Thank you for joining me for another raw video. You know what, guys? This is a combination of a changing market and crappy business practices, right? Bad business decisions on the part of GameStop. You know, with all the hate that GameStop has gotten over the last few years, I think most people can agree that in general nobody wanted to see them fail. They just wanted them to be better at their job, to do the right things in business, and they just never did. They went in different directions, bad management, you know, and it happens to a lot of companies where they hit a peak and they think they can do nothing wrong, and then they just screw the pooch. And this is typical of what you see. You know, it's GameStop had the opportunity to get in the innovation of the business. You know, maybe get into something like Steam or do exclusive content, partner up with developers. Shoot, instead of wasting all the money on companies that had nothing to do with video games, maybe invest in a couple of developers to create for them or establish a service, things like that. You know, they could have done so many things that they never did, and now they get to pay the price. Instead, they tried to milk every single penny out of their customers through buying, you know, not giving a fair price for games, or trying to upsell every single customer and sell them things that they either didn't need or didn't ask for, and step away from what had made a lot of the stores that they bought great. I started shopping at GameStop when it was Funkoland, at least the one that was close to our house when my kids were growing up. And, you know, it was great. I would show up there, you know, what was available, you know, we're looking for a game, you know, I'd tell them how much money I had and what my budget was, and they were really friendly that way. They weren't trying to you know, sell me things I didn't need or spend money that I didn't have. And when GameStop took over my Funkoland, immediately you could see the corporate change. It went from a friendly environment, a place you go to visit, you know, on a Saturday, on a Sunday to pick up your games. It went to a corporate environment where they were pushing memberships and, you know, pre-orders and just trying to, you know, to get you to buy something all the time, and having somebody always on your ear. You know, I mean, it became different that way. You know, it didn't become as enjoyable as it had been in the past. And this is a product of the market. You know, I mean, more and more people are downloading their video games just because they want it now and it's convenient. And I understand that. You know, I completely understand, because I'm a person myself that has their food delivered. I use Amazon Prime to have my food delivered. And, you know, I hate going to the supermarket. I hate shopping in general. The one time I enjoy shopping is when I shop for video games. You know, when I go into a video game store, and I don't know about you guys, but when I go to a store, I take inventory. I want to make sure that I look at every single item that I can, because there's always something that I could have missed or a great value that I didn't see. And for all the problems that GameStop had, one of the things that they were good at by being bad was pricing their games. You would have a lot of games, specifically special editions, priced at regular price, because when the employees would take them in, they would just scan them for whatever the game was, regardless of what the casing was, right? So if it's a disc that was only worth $2.39, it was $2.39, regardless of whether it's special edition or not. And I have I have collected a few of those, and I enjoy collecting those. Right now, for example, is a great time to be collecting for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And for Generation X gamers, I think those are some of the best consoles, and I want to make a video on this because most of those games were complete. You can buy a lot of complete games on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, especially shooters and stuff like that, that our generation specifically enjoyed, that are complete. They don't need to do a lot of downloading for. And there's some great values. I mean, great values, right? There's not going to be many things that are going to improve much on a simple shooter from that generation to this generation. Maybe a little bit, but not anything significant. So we are going to miss those type of things. The other thing we're going to miss is going to be having that shopping experience, that one-on-one attention, because these stores are going to go away. I mean, there's no way a company that had a stock value of $50 go down to 15 and not have any repercussions. They closed a bunch of stores already, but it's going to happen even more. They went from being worth like $9 billion to $1 billion. Something's got to give, right? And like I said, it's the beginning of the end. And it's going to be a resource we don't have. As much hate as GameStop gets, it's a resource that you are not going to have. When push comes to shove, you could always go to a GameStop and get what you needed. There were so many stores, right? And now that is going to slowly fade away, if not immediately fade away, right? And that's what we have to look at here, guys. It's the end of an era. And it's the same thing when, Blockbuster Video started to go. We all hated it. We all talk about, oh, it's the good old days. We used to do this, and we used to get the popcorn and the 2 movies and yada, yada, yada. But nobody eventually did it. Everybody just said, I'm going to get Netflix, or I'm going to get, Hulu or whatever. Nobody's going, hey, you know what, I'm going to go get the whole DVD series of X series because I want to binge watch. It's just not convenient. And the way video games are going, that's the way it's going to be for the video game industry. Do I like it? Of course not, because it's a completely different business model. It's a business model based on paying for extra content, right? Getting something basic that's incomplete and paying them even more to get a full game experience, which I find dishonest and ludicrous. But that's a story for another video that I'll make. But it's really tough to see GameStop fail, and because I've been shopping at those particular stores, like I said, since it was FuncoLand. So even though GameStop was the evil empire that changed everything and what have you, it's been there for a long time. There's a generation of kids that just grew up with GameStop, and that's what they're going to talk about, going to the GameStop with their parents. The time their parents picked up their video game console at GameStop. And as Generation Xers, probably it hits us more because a lot of things that we knew are gone. Right? There's no more Blockbuster, no more Toys R Us, no more physical media as a dominant way of watching films. So, we just have to adjust and move forward. Now, hopefully, they don't go too fast, but when they do, we're able to get some great deals and, just reminisce like we do about other things, and hopefully you guys will support the mom and pop shops that are out there. They're trying to, ink out a living out of this crazy business. But, it's the way it is, and we just have to accept it. Well, guys, thank you for joining me on a raw video, and I think that's what I'll do now. I'm thinking of doing some gameplay maybe over, because I hate being in front of the camera, but I don't want to do motion capture and all that stuff because, I'm going to school right now. Went back to college, and I just don't have the time. So I'm just trying to get videos in as fast as I can with my opinions on current events and talking about video games that I enjoyed. And that's what I'm going to try to do. So thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe. Leave your comments, and let's talk about it. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Take care.